Patrick, the first half of this year, one of the big community focus was running these network studies that can inform evidence gaps in clinical guidelines. We've spent a couple months talking about how to run these studies, tools that can be used within the community. And then we got a number of updates in May about how these studies are going on. Can you just kind of give your impressions about this activity and where we are?
Yeah, well, I think I've reaffirmed that this community priority around guideline-driven evidence was a good direction for us to take. I'm encouraged about how much engagement we're seeing, not just from our study leads and our data partners, but from other members of the community who want to participate. I think what we've seen is good progress towards taking important questions that are outstanding evidence needs in the clinical guidelines and trying to translate those into operational analyses that we can generate evidence for. What we heard from our study leads this last month was progress towards finalizing those questions into study protocols. And we've heard from our data partners, it's very important that these study protocols be fully specified so that organizations can get approval for the appropriate use of their data. What we're also encouraged by is that multiple of the study leads have been able to use our Strategos packages using our EHDS analysis framework to be able to be ready such that when data partners are able to get approval for the use of their data, they'll be able to execute these studies and share results back. Ultimately, what's particularly encouraging to me is that we've seen a range of different questions that are going to be answered using our characterization and estimation tools in a consistent framework. And the level of collaboration towards making this evidence happen is certainly something that I'm encouraged by and hope will serve as a role model for others in the community who are looking to generate evidence to support patients that we're interested in supporting.
When you kind of set the path for the year, you talked about the first half of the year being about these studies and the second half of the year being about dissemination. And we're kind of approaching the second half of the year, and that's going to start in July in Belgium with the 2025 Europe Symposium. Still time to register. The agenda looks like a fantastic agenda, all available in this newsletter and on the website. I know you'll be out there. Can you just talk about what's going on in Europe right now and what you're expecting from the symposium?
Yeah, I'm really excited to head out to Belgium to be at the OHDSI Europe Symposium this year. Elizabeth Peters and the team at the University of Hasselt are doing a great job in preparation. I think that the exciting part that's happening in Europe that I think is something that the rest of the world really needs to pay close attention to. In Europe, there are several strategic efforts to try to coordinate data access and data use across multiple stakeholders, including governments, industry, and academia. One of those efforts that we've talked about in the past is Darwin EU, an EMA-sponsored effort to generate evidence to support regulatory decision-making, and we'll be excited to see lots of the progress that the Darwin EU team has made towards delivering on that promise of real-world evidence for regulatory decision-making. But another important effort that's going on in Europe is the European health data space. Now, this is active legislation that's going on that's basically trying to democratize the access to healthcare data across Europe to maximize its use for research. And with this legislation coming out, it's supposed to be a coordinated effort across the European Union to make data available. And this has profound implications for all of us in the OHDSI community who are interested in having access to data and are interested in applying our practices for how to use distributed data networks, standardized common data models, and standardized analytics tools to generate evidence. And so one of the things I'm excited about for OHDSI Europe is going to be a robust conversation across all stakeholder groups about how we as OHDSI can contribute to the emergence of the European health data space and what the EHDS can actually learn from us as an OHDSI community so that we can really make sure that data that are potentially useful for generating evidence actually get used to their fullest to maximize the evidence that we can deliver out to patients.
3 months later, the Global Symposium in October, back in New Brunswick, New Jersey. The submission deadline for the Collaborator Showcase is July 1st. So we're looking at about a month. I know there's a lot of great work already being done. Can you just talk about what the type of research that you're hoping to see and just the overall importance of the Collaborator Showcase at our symposium?
Yeah, having now gotten to review the Collaborator Showcase submissions for OHDSI Europe, I'm even more excited to be part of our scientific review committee that will review the Global Symposium submissions, which are due on July 1st. We had a session in May to engage the community in thinking about what type of research that they're going to be submitting and to try to forge some collaborations. What makes our Global Symposium Collaborator Showcase a great opportunity for all researchers in our community is that we're looking to bring works in progress, completed works, ideas to the table so that people can really meaningfully engage with each other. And so if you're a researcher in our community that's working on open community data standards, whether that be the extensions to the OMOP Common Data Model or evaluations of our standardized vocabulary, the symposium is a great place for you to share what you're up to. If you're doing work on methodologic research to evaluate best practices for characterization and estimation and prediction, this is a great place for you to share your work. If you're doing open source development and want to demonstrate your software and try to encourage folks to use and expand your tools, this is the great place to be. And ultimately, if you generated evidence using any of the OHDSI tools, the OMOP Common Data Model, the OHDSI Evidence Network, this is a great place for you to show what you did, how you did it, and what we can all learn from it. And what I really hope that we want to encourage folks to think about is that sharing research isn't the end of the process. It's actually the start of the journey for disseminating the knowledge that you've gained and for fostering new collaborations for how you take where you're at and start on a new journey towards where you can go to maximize the benefit to the patients that we're doing this research for.
All the information for the Collaborator Showcase is available in this newsletter and also online. We have great community calls. Atlas is going to be the focus of our community calls in June. So these will be interactive sessions. So please do join so you can help kind of shape the future of Atlas. Thanks for joining, Patrick.
Thank you, Greg. Science!